Hello and welcome to the Daily Space, coming to you live from Vienna, Austria. I am Dr. Pamela Gay, and I have really bad bandwidth. Really bad bandwidth. So I apologize in advance for whatever chaos may occur, such as apparently Streamlabs has decided it's not going to Streamlab our chat tonight. So, for those of you who are wondering what's going on with the new time, the completely new place, the really weird jaundiced color, I am currently uh, in my hotel room. I have been kicked out of the Austrian Convention Center because they only rent the facility for so many hours. I get it, it's valid. And I am back in my hotel room waiting for the sun to set behind me. And when it does, the water that you can see just over my shoulder over here, this water, if the bandwidth will let me point at it, this water back over here is part of the Danube River. Now, since arriving here, I have, like many of the other convention visitors, been working hard to try and, well, find my way around and get started. Now, for me, that journey has been a little more exciting because I am here as the editor-in-chief of the IAU daily newspaper. And with our daily newspaper, we are working to help everyone who is here to figure out, well, exactly what all is going on out there. Now, we are located in a very strange location. We are on a strange little small land-filled island of a thing that is right to the east of the Danube River from Vienna proper. The land that we're currently on is essentially reclaimed riverbed. Once upon a time, the Danube River, as it went through this area of Europe, was a braided river. It was much more complex geologically than it is today. And the land that we're on was kind of swampy. And over time, they decided to fill in the land and create new land on which to build things. Now, over the years, this land has been used for many different things, ranging from executions once upon a time to today. This is home to many different United Nations facilities, the Austrian Convention Center, sorry, the Austrian uh, yes, the Austrian Convention Center. And well, for this week, not just us for the International Astronomical Union, but we are also here at the same time as the European Council presidency is meeting. So we're sharing our facilities with some amazing EU 2018 celebrations. Now, part of the timing of everything that we're doing is because this meeting is supported by the Austrian presidency. Now, I see some questions in the chat. So DPI 290, hello, Rose and Michael. Oh man, scrolling. I'm going to scroll all the way up and look for questions. Um, Well, I see someone asking if the Danube is blue. The Danube is indeed blue if the sky is clear. It's reflecting the color of the sky. It's not actually muddy water. One of the things that had me greatly confused is when I went down to that waterfront the other day, I bicycled along it for a little while. Um, there are people that swim in the channel behind me. It turns out that the channel on this side of that little island in the middle is actually considered by some a commuter way where people will actually swim to work. Now, I'm not quite that brave. I've seen boats out in that water, um, and there's swans. Swans are mean and scary, but that's not exactly why I'm here. I'm here to talk about science. To the yes, Paranor has the answer for you guys. Um, So, to let you know what all is going on. Well, first of all, we have shifted the daily space for this week and probably this 2 weeks and this 2 weeks only. Sorry, I'm having frame drops. We've shifted the daily space for this week and next week to occur at this later time to allow me to finish up wrapping up our newspaper editions every day while I'm here. Uh, the IAU is such a large conference that we put out a daily newspaper, and all of you can go visit it. You can find it at astronomy2018.cosmoquest.org/newspaper. Now, if that URL sounds a little bit familiar, that's because the daily space is brought to you uh, as part of CosmoQuest. Now, Daily Space normally hangs out working at the citizen science side of CosmoQuest and the podcasting side of CosmoQuest, but this week an extra website was needed, and it was needed to help you understand more about our professional community, and that's completely in line with everything we do here at CosmoQuest. So a server was needed, we spun one up, and I hope that all of you will join us over at the newspaper and learn a little bit about the politics behind professional astronomy. Now, the big question that I've got in the lead up to this week is, are you going to be working to figure out Pluto? Is Pluto going to get made a planet again? No, that is not on our topic of things to vote about. But based on what we learned from the fallout of how Pluto was demoted, it's been recognized that, well, first of all, not all IAU members are in attendance at this particular meeting. And sometimes, well, our votes need to include more than just the people who are here. So the IAU is pulling back uh, a trend that it had in the past, or a trend that it had on paper in the past but didn't use, that says that for very important members, we'll do an initial vote here at the conference and then call for a public vote of all of our members. This future vote will occur in a roughly 3 months' time, and every IAU member is going to be able to vote on the one very important resolution we have that's going to be voted on Thursday of next week. And this resolution is concerning the Hubble Law. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Hubble Law is, that's cool. The Hubble word gets used for a million different things, so I feel ya. So the Hubble Law is what we refer to today as that plot that describes how the distance of an object directly corresponds to how fast it appears to be moving away from us. For objects that aren't gravitationally bound to our galaxy, they appear to be getting carried away by, well, the expansion of the universe. Gravity can hold local objects together. Chemistry can hold, well, things like you, me, planets, well, not planets, you, me, small asteroids, and things like that together. But um, overall, our universe is expanding and it's carrying things apart with it. Now, Hubble wasn't the first one to realize this was a possibility. And in fact, there is some evidence that he even discussed, well, Lemaitre's or Lemaitre, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, I'm going to admit to that, Lemaitre's ideas about the expansion of the universe so Lemaitre had the ideas first. He discussed those ideas at a former International Astronomical Union meeting, and after that discussion occurred, that was when Hubble went looking, with the help of Milton Hubbison, his night observer, went looking for that expansion of the universe. Hubble had the telescopes. He had the night assistant, Milton Hubbison, to do great observing for him. And the result was this this description of how our solar system is expanding that was described by Lemaitre has gone by the name Hubble's Law. Well, I'm going to have to look up the number. In one of the proposals for resolutions that we have coming up for a vote, Resolution number 5 this year is suggesting that we should rename the Hubble Law, that we should give credit where credit is due, and credit Lamartrie, or Lamartre, I don't know which, to, well, being there first in the theory and the understanding, to discussing what he believed to be true with Hubble, and Hubble going out and observing it. There's a long history of this sharing of credit. Now, unfortunately, it turns out the observers usually get the bulk of the credit. The most famous example of this is probably, well, with the cosmic microwave background. There was the big radio experiment, and I'm not going to give names to the observers, I'm going to give names to the theorist. The cosmic microwave background was found quite accidentally by a pair of astronomers working at Bell Labs who were trying to figure out how to clean up their microwave data that was getting used for communication. And no matter where they pointed their telescope, they kept, well, their communications disk, they kept finding this background noise in all directions. And they tried cleaning their system. They thought it was pigeon shit. They thought many different things. And it was an astronomer by the name of Peebles who was working at Princeton who said, this matches our theories for the cosmic microwave background. And they worked together and they discussed things, and the Nobel Prize came out, and guess who didn't get it? His name might begin with the letter P. So poor Peebles. Now we're working to correct a similar wrong. In this case, the Hubble Law may just become the Hubble Lamartrie, however you say this person's name, I need to learn this, may come to be named after both of these people who were part of this great discovery. Now, because this is liable to be highly controversial, they're not just going to do a show of hands vote, and I will be there to show my hand. I'm not going to reveal my vote. But because they recognize this is something that is probably going to be, well, up for debate, they're going to let us do the official vote, well, electronically instead. Now, that does raise issues of hackers and many other things, but this is what we're going to do because it's got to be better than raising hands in an auditorium. Now, beyond that, the other resolutions that we're looking at aren't nearly as controversial. And you can read all of these online. Like I said, we're linking to all of this through the IAU newspaper, which is part of CosmoQuest. So check it all out. Once again, the website is astronomy2018.cosmoquest.org. There's a /newspaper. If you don't write it, you'll still get there. Go check out all of these stories and keep up to date with everything that's going on. So the other resolutions that we have, Resolution 1 is a 10-year strategic plan on how the International Astronomical Union should move forward in ways that both benefit our science and benefit our society. One of the things that the International Astronomical Union takes very much to heart is the need to use astronomy, which takes advantage of some of the least populated, some of the least technologically advanced parts of the world to place our telescopes. Well, how can we help the world stay dark, advance technologically, and use astronomy for this development? How can we use our science, which so many people love, to leverage education? So the IAU has put significant funding into its offices for astronomy, for development through astronomy, and its Office of Astronomy Outreach. And then, of course, it's doing all its normal things to support science, to figure out naming conventions, which kind of brings us to, well, resolution number 2. And I apologize for all the frame dropping. I suspect all of the astronomers pausing while the frame dropping gets too bad. I suspect that all of the astronomers are getting back to their hotel, and that's what we're contending with. I unfortunately was kicked out of our venue, so I'm trying to stream from my hotel room. I'm going to close off everything else on my computer that might be eating bandwidth. I apologize for the frame drops. Okay, this seems to be was looking a little bit better. There. Okay, let's see how we can carry on. So resolutions 2 and 3 are about reference frames, and resolution 4 is about how to handle historical astronomical data. Now, I will be bringing all of these to you in more detail as the weeks progress. Now, for now, I'm going to take your questions, and tomorrow I'm going to return with not an overview of the conference, but an overview of the science. So please, at me in the chat. Actually, you don't need to at me today because I closed the chat where that matters, and I'm trying to read it off the screen. So drop me in your questions, and I'll do what I can to answer them, network willing. So I can't scroll backwards, just to let you know. So AstroWise is saying La Matra. You know, I've heard that, and so is that the French way to say it? I believe you're also Canadian, AstroWise. Thank you. Hello, Uncle Bill. And again, I can't scroll, so please repeat your question. So Hanny is asking, what other things should have a name change? Well, names, I'm not that worried. Oh, do you mean like the Hubble Law? Oh, so many things, not just in astronomy. So yeah, I'm just going to stop there. So many things, so many things. The history is often told by the people who had the money to run the lab. And that's just the way it works. Someone pays the bills, and often that means they get the credit, but they're providing jobs, but still those people should get credit too. Keeper of maps, thank you. Yes, just like Rosalind Kind in DNA. So Rosen Michael 123 is asking, where do I work? I am the Director of Technology and Citizen Science for the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. They're headquartered out of San Francisco, but they also have offices in Utah, in Edwardsville, Illinois, and they have a variety of remote employees that span the globe. Our publisher of our 365 Days of Astronomy podcast is actually in Indonesia. So mostly I work on software. So we're developing software that allows better photometry and astrometry, software that will allow you to do photometry and astrometry with a bit easier of an interface to use. We also develop technology used to, well, crowdsource data and then hopefully use it to produce new science. And also, well, one of our goals is to train machine learning algorithms. So AstroWise is asking to clarify, the vote is to change Hubble's law to the Hubble-Lemaitre or Lemaitre law. Yes, that is exactly what we're looking at. Yes, that's the name that I know how to write. And one of the problems with learning from reading is you don't always know the pronunciation of things. Other questions? So Hanny is asking, so the point of this conference is to standardize how science is taught. It's not just how it's taught, that's actually a very small part of this. This is the world's governing board for astronomy research. So as I was saying, two of the reformations that we're looking at, or resolutions, not reformations, two of the resolutions that we're looking at actually concern reference frames. So one of the things that gets said at this conference is, well, here on Earth, for figuring out where's 0, 0 on a map, We draw a line north-south through Greenwich because reasons, politics mostly. Go read Dava Sobel's In Search of Zero if you want to fully understand. And then we draw the north-south 0 point through the equator. So in general, north-south 0 points are always on the equator. But where you define zero for the east-west around a circular object can be a little bit hairy. Quite often, what different teams will do is they'll designate a specific tiny crater, and hopefully a point on the tiny crater, as zero for your east-west. And that kind of exactly where is the 0 point on an object surface gets defined by groups at this meeting. Defining how do we decide to name different objects? That gets decided at this meeting. Deciding what is the next big jump in how we name our coordinate systems. Some of you may remember the B1950 star coordinates, which were completely accurate in 1950, and then the sky slowly drifted as our planet precessed. And at least for me, starting in the 90s, we started using the J2000 coordinates. Other people adopted them at other times. And so they'd point their telescopes with a correction to the point where the stars would be in 2000. Well, now comes the question of what's the next system going to be? What letter goes in front? What year do we base things off of? All these kinds of fiddly diddly little things that we need to agree on to be able to advance science, all that stuff gets decided right here during the 2 weeks of this meeting. Thank you, tardigrade. So do we have other questions? Again, I can't scroll. So Hanny, to be a member of the IAU, sorry, I'm sitting on the floor and I have to switch positions because my foot is completely asleep. So to become a member of the IAU, it varies from country to country. Once you become a member of the International Astronomical Union, you're a member for life. I became a member 8 years ago, I think. And with that membership, that means the United States is going to be paying my subscription dues until I die. So becoming a member is something that each nation, which pays for their own members' dues, takes very seriously. Each nation has its own criteria, its own selection process. Here in the United States, our official governing body is, I believe, the national academies, and they have passed their authority to the American Astronomical Society, where there's a committee of people that read through applications and judge you of substantial quality and thus able to become a member or not worth wasting subscriptions on for the rest of your life. So the kinds of things that they weigh are what kind of influence are you likely to have? Are you likely to stay in the field? Are you the kind of person they want voting on these resolutions? And so they look at a lot of different things to figure out. I put in my application and I was lucky to get through on my first try. I think part of it is because of the work I did in the International Year of Astronomy. Different people get in for different reasons. So you're discussing Flamatra, whose name I don't know how to pronounce. Thank you, Hattie. So do we have any more questions? Anything you want me to figure out? Anything else going on? So Astrowise is asking, are there many women there? So I have to admit, as the editor-in-chief of the newspaper, I've spent my entire day in one very sweet suite of rooms where I'm working with a fabulous international staff that is actually dominated by women. We have them all listed up on underneath the About page on our newspaper. And I didn't really get out of the room today because we're still working on fixing up bugs in the website, getting the content pushed. In general, this meeting does have a fair number of women who are quite young and not as many who are older simply because that reflects our field. So our newspaper staff is dominated by women. The profession of astronomy is something like 7% women at the most senior levels and 20 at the level I'm in. So there's not many of us. Periner is asking, have you had more than one opportunity to get your transformer bike out? So that's something of a personal question. I brought a bicycle with me because I'm going to be here for 2 weeks. I wanted to do some exploring. And there's nothing quite like getting out on a bike with a camera. And I have been spending enough money renting bikes that I could just buy one that folds up. So far, I've only got out on it once, but as I said, we were still trying to get the newspaper launched, which included preparing the website and everything else. Um, I'm gonna be working on this. Um, it is good to see more women coming in, Hanny. Here's to hoping that they stay in the field as well. Um, so if there are no more questions, um, I am going to consider going out and getting a touch of dinner. So we will be doing the Daily Space every day this week and next week at this special time. We will then be reflecting with you, our dear audience, on what time do you prefer us? Because we're open to follow you where you want us to be. Um, so thank you, Trekker Kev. Tardigrade's asking if we'll rename dark matter and dark energy. No, those are stuck. We're stuck with those. Um, hey, QC Rick, welcome. Um, so, yeah, I'm hoping to get out more this week, bring you more information this week. And we're going to be working on the CosmoQuest hashtag to bring you, not hashtag, CosmoQuest Twitter account, CosmoQuest X, to bring you all the science we can and all the updates that we can live right here in Vienna from our devices to yours. So please tune in every night at, well, 8 p.m. Central European Time, 2 p.m. Boston. That I believe is 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'm going to be here bringing you news. And as always, the Daily Space is brought to you by CosmoQuest. We invite you to be part of exploring our universe. Go to cosmoquest.org and help us map out other worlds by identifying the features that are in images taken by a variety of different NASA spacecraft or by astronauts on the International Space Station. Tune in every day, as I just said. And, you know, if you want to get a reminder that we're going live, go ahead and give us a follow. Follows are free, and you'll be notified of every new episode. We're sustained by your subscriptions, and every bit really helps. The Daily Space is a collaboration of multiple institutions. We are led out of the Astronomical Society of the Pacific, and you'll also see wonderful faces coming to you from the Planetary Science Institute and Youngstown State University. So stay tuned. And if you really need your fill, at least on Wednesday, 1 hour earlier, we will have Dr. Matt Richardson coming to you right here, bringing you Astro 101 at that earlier hour when the Daily Space normally takes place. So thanks a lot, everyone. And wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous evening. That's what I'm going to do. Morning or afternoon. And remember, get outside and look up. The moon is getting bigger, but those planets are still plenty bright to see. I'll see you all on the other side. Bye-bye.